What is up, you guys? In today's video, I'm going to tell you how to set and accomplish incredible goals inside of your woodworking business in 2025. Let's dive in. All right, well, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the podcast. For those of you that aren't aware, this is episode number 356 on the podcast. And so if you're watching this on YouTube and you have not checked out the podcast, the Handmade Business Secrets podcast, go check that out on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's probably there. And if you haven't subscribed here, be sure to do that as well. So I want to talk to you about how to set and accomplish really great goals inside of your woodworking business. And so I got some core principles for you today, but I'm going to really give you some super practical stuff inside of this video. Okay, so we're going to get into some more technical stuff. So hang with me. I'm going to walk you through what everything means and how you can set these goals and accomplish your goals along the way. But the number one thing that you got to do when you start thinking about setting goals and accomplishing goals is you have to start with the end in mind. I got to start with the goal. What goal do I want to accomplish? If let's say that your goal is I want to make $1 million in revenue this year. That is a start with the end in mind type goal. Let's talk specifically just about financial goals for a minute. So you need to set a revenue goal. What do I want my total revenue to be this year in my business? So let's say that you did $50,000 last year in your business and you're like, man, I want to triple my business. I want to do $150,000 in revenue this year. Okay, that's a great goal. And you're starting with the end in mind. You set a revenue goal. Now, here's where everybody goes wrong. They'll set a revenue goal, but they do not set a net profit goal. So you need to have both. You need to have a revenue goal and a net profit goal. So here's a good example of that. I want to do $150,000 in revenue this year, but I want to keep $75,000 in net profits. This gives you a really rounded out goal of not just the fact that we're going to grow the business, but how am I going to manage the money? How am I going to manage the finances? How am I going to manage the team? Or I got to find better vendors to get really good materials for less money, right? So this helps you set goals across your organization. A net profit goal is huge as you're starting to grow your business, because I didn't do that. And I grew a really big top line business, but in 2022 had really poor margins, had like 10% margins. So I was like, man, why are my margins so low? Then in 2023, I started setting net profit goals and really started tightening up my margins, and we ended up being over twice as profitable in 2023 as we were in 2022, right? So this, let me tell you from experience, a net profit goal is super, super important. The second thing that you need to do is you need to define your why. This is where everybody goes wrong. They're just like, oh, it just sounds like a cool idea. Oh, it just sounds cool. What is your why? Why do you have that goal? What are you going to do with the money? What are you going to do with the business? What is your heart behind accomplishing that goal? Like, you need to have a clear and definitive why behind everything that you choose to do, okay? I'm not going to stay on this one long, but you need to actually think through this. Like, why do I want this? Is it because I want to buy something cool? Is it because I want to invest money? Is it because I want to pay off debt? Is it because I want to prove something to somebody? Why do I want to do this? Or do I just think this is a cool goal because Zach said it on his YouTube channel? Don't do that. Do it because it makes sense to you and your family, okay? So make sure that you have a clear why behind your goal. Now, this is the third one that I really love, and I think this is a really cool idea to introduce with setting goals, and that is, what restraints are you going to put around this goal? If you just say, I want to do $150,000 in revenue, you could work 80 hours a week to do that, right? You could work 100 hours a week, sacrifice your family, you could spend no time with your kids, but by golly, we got to $150,000 in revenue. That is foolishness, okay? Don't do that, okay? So what you need to do is you need to introduce a restraint or a constraint that you're going to put on yourself while you're trying to hit this goal. So a couple great examples of this: a time constraint. I'm only going to work 40 hours a week, but I'm going to accomplish this goal. Or a space constraint, okay? I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna stay in my garage. I'm not going to move into a commercial space. Another great example of this: I'm only gonna devote a few days of the week to this goal. Or I'm only gonna work in the business 30 hours a week, but I'm gonna designate 10 hours a week to working on the business, thinking about how we're getting leads and how we're getting sales and working on the components inside the business. By introducing constraints in your business, it makes you get creative. Instead of just brute forcing your way to a goal, it makes you think smarter, and it allows you to not burn yourself out. Because what we do, really ambitious people, is they set goals and then everything else gets sacrificed on the way to that goal. I'm a huge component of family, spending time with your spouse, your children, the stability. That's a gift that God gave you. How foolish would it be for us to sacrifice that gift to pursue some goal that by the time that we're in the ground really didn't mean much, okay? So what I want to encourage you to do is introduce constraints so that you keep the main things, but you also accomplish these goals. Now, here's where it really gets fun. The rest of this video is going to be packed with really actionable things that we're talking through, and I'm going to be walking you through this. So number 4, this is the fourth thing that you need to do in order to set and accomplish great goals, is that you need to reverse engineer your goals back down into daily activities. You need to reverse engineer your big, lofty goals down into daily activities. I'm going to give you 3 examples of what this looks like. Something that you need to understand and you need to learn inside of your business is what is my AOV and what is my CAC. AOV stands for average order value. So what is my average order value? So let me give you an example here. Okay, so let's say that last month you did $10,000 in sales and you had 4 customers. You would go $10,000 divided by 4 customers equals an average order value of $2,500 per customer. That's how you know your AOV, your average order value. Now, CAC is cost to acquire a customer. Cost to acquire a customer. How much money did I have to spend in order to get a customer? Right now, you're most likely not spending any money on paid ads. I would encourage you probably need to start spending money on paid ads. An easy example, let's say that you did spend $1,000 on paid ads or boosting posts or boosting marketplace listings or boosting Etsy listings or whatever. Let's say you spent $1,000 and you got 4 customers, right? You did $10,000 in sales. You got 4 customers for $2,500 per customer. You spent $1,000 and you got 4 customers. Your cost to acquire a customer was $250. Hopefully this is making sense. So you got 4 new customers because you spent $1,000. 1,000 divided by your 4 customers is $250. So if my cost to acquire a customer is $250 and my average order value is $2,500, that means I'm getting on average a 10x return on my advertising. Okay, that means for every dollar that I've spent, I'm getting $10 back in revenue, which by the way, that's what we do inside the Woodworking Business Accelerator program. On average, our average return for all of our clients is 10x, which means that I can spend more money and make 10 times more every single time that I spend more money, which is a crazy way, an easy way to scale a business. So, but this makes this very simple because this allows me to distill this down to a daily, weekly, monthly basis, okay? If my goal, let's say, is to do $50,000 per month in sales, then that means I need to be spending $5,000 per month in advertising. All that you would need to do on a daily, to break this down to a daily basis, is go $5,000 divided by however many days are in this month. And that's how much money I would need to be spending every day this month in order to hit my goal. So this is one way to look at this. You look at your average order value, your cost to acquire a customer, and then you figure that out on a daily basis. Okay, if I want to sell $50,000 worth of furniture and I know that my average return on advertising is a 10x return, I need to spend $5,000. If I want to do $100,000, I need to spend $10,000. If I want to do $500,000, I need to spend $50,000. And by the way, guys, that's how it works. That's how you scale. There are companies right now. It's crazy to think about this. There are companies right now that are spending $50,000 to $100,000 to $200,000 a day on advertising, which is crazy, but that's how you scale. So another great example of this, let's say that your closing rate is a 10% close rate. That means that 1 out of every 10 people that you talk to, you get a sale. So my average order value is $3,000 and my revenue goal for this example, let's say, is $70,000, okay? So I need to close 23.3 sales this month in order to hit my $70,000 revenue goal. $70,000 revenue goal divided by $3,000 average order value is 23.3 clients. That means that I need to talk with 233 leads to get those 23 sales. If my cost per lead is $25, then I would need to spend $5,825 to get those leads. Also, if I need to talk to 233 leads, I would take 233 leads divided by 30 days of the month, and that would tell me how many leads per day I need to be talking to, and that would give me a basis for, do I need to spend more money on ads or spend less money to stay within that goal, as long as my closing rate is 10%. If my closing rate is 20%, I would only need half as many leads, right? If my closing rate is 5%, I would need twice as many leads. So this is super important to know. Okay, last example I'll give you of this. How many outreaches do I need to do to interior designers to land one long-term relationship? Okay, so right now in the furniture industry, in the woodworking business, there are woodworking businesses out there that they don't run any paid ads. They only have relationships with interior designers, and those interior designers keep them slammed with work. So you're like, okay, how many outreaches do I need to do in order to land one solid relationship with an interior designer? Let's just walk through this. Let's say that your close rate with an interior designer is a 3% close rate. That means that I need to talk to 100 interior designers to land 3 relationships. okay, which sounds crazy. You're like, man, that sucks. That's a terrible close rate, right? Let me walk you through this. I would set a daily goal to reach out to 2 interior designers every single day, whether that be via email or by phone call or however that looks. But I would set a daily goal to reach out to 2 interior designers every single day. So in 50 work days, that means I would have reached out to 100 interior designers, and with a 3% close rate, I would have 3 new long-standing relationships with interior designers in a 50-day span of time. And so I would have 3 long-standing relationships, which means that they could get me, 1 job a year, or they could be getting me 10 jobs a year, right? Each one of them. But here's where it gets really cool. If you did this all year long, you made the commitment that Monday to Friday, I'm going to reach out to 2 interior designers every day for the entire year. There's roughly around 250 working days in a year. And what you'd end up with at the end of the year is you would have 15 long-standing relationships with interior designers. Guys, let me just tell you this. If you had 15 relationships with interior designers and they kept you busy, you'd be doing $50,000 a month in a year. And you wouldn't be spending any money on paid ads to do it, but you could scale dramatically simply by reaching out to 2 interior designers a day for a year. Here's what I want you to understand about this video. The problem that most people face is that they are unwilling to do things without an immediate payoff for a long period of time. Most people, if we don't see a payoff within a week or 2 weeks or a month, we stop doing it. This is why most people don't grow businesses. This is why most people don't stay in the game. This is why most people struggle. And this is also, by the way, why it's so easy to win. If you can just do something for a long period of time, you will win. I said back at the beginning of this video, this is my 356th podcast episode. I've been doing podcast episodes like this, YouTube videos like this now for a really, really, really long time. But it's still not that long compared to some people, right? There's some people that have been doing this for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. I've been doing it now for about 4 years, 3 or 4 years, and I feel like I've been doing this forever. Most people that start a podcast, they don't get past episode 1. They do 1 episode and they never do it again. I made the commitment to do this and stick with it, and that's why we have a thriving business, is because of the commitment that I made to do this for a long period of time without any immediate payoff. I'm telling you guys, if you can do it for a long period of time and just stick with it without allowing other circumstances to shut it down, you will be successful, because you'll do it long enough to see what you're good at and what you're not good at. You'll do more of what you're good at and less of what you're not good at, or you'll improve those skills too. But the problem that most people have is that they're not willing to do things for a long period of time. They're not willing to be consistent. They're not willing to invest back into their business. They start pulling way too much money out of their business. If you can just invest money back into your business and do things for a really long period of time, you will be successful. Last thing I want to just leave you with, you need to do it consistently for so long that it would be unreasonable that you wouldn't become great at it. And once you become great at it, then you will make money doing it. Now, if you're needing help with this, if you're needing a shot in the arm, a kickstart, be sure to check out the Woodworking Business Accelerator program. We're going to help you build out a product catalog, get more leads than you can handle, teach you how to sell them, help you scale operations and fulfillment, and make sure that you are the guy in your local area when it comes to custom furniture. So with that being said, guys, hopefully this video was super helpful for you. I tried to really deep dive on this. Just a reminder, know your AOV, know your CAC, your cost to acquire a customer. As you know these numbers and you put pencil to it, then you can reverse engineer it to how much money do I need to spend to acquire customers that I know are worth on average this much money, and that'll allow me to scale my business. You need to know what your closing rate is. Out of all the people that I talk to, what percentage of those people do I actually close? You need to know, hey, if I could just land this many relationships with interior designers or with real estate agents or whatever that thing might be, then I could grow my business to X. Well, in order to do that, I need to do this. This is how we set really great goals, and we accomplish it on a day-to-day basis. So if this was helpful to you, if this was thorough, please let me know. I'm trying to put my heart and my soul into these videos to help you guys scale your woodworking business. So with that being said, love you, appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon.